Hey everybody, this is Atticus the Death Meddler. Now, I thought long and hard whether I was going to talk about this issue or not, but since everyone has been bringing this up, I thought, fuck it, why the fuck not? So for this video, I'm gonna be joining up in the ranks of some black guy, a bit of Brit, and of course my buddy Damien Skyfire, who talked about this wonderful role model for all of the young girls out there. I'm of course talking about Tess Holliday. Tess Holliday has been a woman that has been on my radar for quite some time. I'm familiar with whom Tess Holliday is, but I never really had the chance into really talking about her. I just thought, you know, most people would talk about her to the point where she would become irrelevant, but it turns out, no, not at all. So Tess has been getting a lot of controversy as of late due to her recent interactions into being onto such magazines as Cosmopolitan magazine. And a lot of people are essentially saying that this is just a new way for us to bring out more of the fat acceptance movement, the body positivity movement. Pretty much essentially Tess Holliday has been quite a supposed role model for a lot of women to be like, hey, you could be any size you want. There is no shame into being fat. You can eat whatever you want. And I'm just being a role model to all of the little girls out there that are struggling with, you know, being fat and all this stuff. It's okay to be fat. You know, this absolutely bewilders me in so many ways you cannot even imagine. The last decade, I could clearly remember that obesity was nothing to be celebrated. It was something that was, you know, a problem. And it is still a problem. I mean, America still is like the #1 in more fat people than any other country in the fucking world. Not to mention that the two leading causes of deaths in America is heart disease and lung cancer. One of my favorite documentaries, Super Size Me, came out in 2005. That movie made such an impact to me in which I pretty much boycotted McDonald's out of my life. But doesn't change the fact that I don't have the best of healthy eating habits at all, which I will talk about later on to this video. We have made such a radical change from obesity is an epidemic that we must talk about. It is a big problem here, and we need to really, you know, make some changes to fat acceptance should be the thing. Be positive over to your overweightness. Obesity should always be glorified. And if you don't agree to the norms, well, guess what? You're fat phobic and you're fat shaming. I find it so funny that there are so many people that bring out legit statistics, especially where obesity can bring you at risk to cancer. And these people are saying, you're being fat phobic, you're fat shaming. I can't believe that I am living in a time in where addressing that obesity can be the leading cause of cancer is now considered fat shaming. I am living in this point in my life right now. I don't know what to say here. Another very ridiculous thing I find about this whole thing with Tess Holliday is that essentially she's on like a health magazine, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong onto this, but it is like the complete opposite of what they're trying to promote. Instead of like, you know, trying to bring forth, you know, a healthy, you know, very fit woman on a cover, you bring out, you know, Tess Holliday and call it fucking progress. I think it's just ridiculous and absolutely messed up. Now, yes, we can all agree that, you know, conditions like anorexia and bulimia are very horrible things, and without a doubt, they should be absolutely condemned, especially on how we looked at, you know, models that are being forced into these conditions of just being borderline like walking skeletons. That is fucked up. But, you know, we're seeing that, but with Tess Holliday, and instead of, you know, the same, you know, disdain over how women were treated into, you know, looking like walking skeletons, we're celebrating women to look like you just like land whales and stuff. Like, that's not, it's like the same thing essentially. Obesity and anorexia are both things that should not be glorified at all whatsoever. And to address stuff like obesity can cause heart problems and a bunch of so many other medical conditions, and you going around saying that's fat phobic and fat shaming, it's not fat phobia or fat shaming. That's just addressing some serious issues that need to be talking about. What is considered fat phobia and fat shaming is what fucking Nicole Arbor did on that one video that she made in 2015, and my God, it was the cringiest shit ever. But there is one thing that I really want to talk about here onto this video, and it's of course has to deal with pretty much what I've been going through this year. Now, I have told you guys that I suffered a hernia throughout this year, but I forgot to tell you guys that I suffered a double hernia. Yes, a double hernia. But I forgot to mention what I went through. And my God, it was quite the depressive journey. Now, essentially how I got the hernia was I decided I'm going to try to get that really fit bod with no time, no patience, try to do it in the fastest way possible by going full throttle, just, pushing my limits, as in cardio, bench presses. I did a lot of that early this year and it was feeling really good. But that's what caused my double hernia, and it was fucking terrible. Essentially, when I first had the early stages of my hernia, when I felt the pain, it literally felt like I was digesting a knife in my intestines. I pretty much did the most fucked up thing when it comes to dealing with the pain. I drank while numbing the pain, and it was not the smartest move I have ever done. So I was confirmed that I had a double hernia. I was told to do light work at my job. Essentially, I was almost helpless, that I was just a liability at my job. I would drink my sorrows away, and it was not a very healthy thing to do. But what does this have to do with me and Tess Holliday and obesity? Well, if you must know, if you drink a bottle of beer, it's like eating 5 slices of bread in every fucking bottle. So I had a gut going on over there with my ever so consumption of beer and my lack of exercise. And essentially, I was pitiful. I was absolutely miserable. After my surgery and 2 to 3 weeks of a steady recovery, I'm bouncing back, but I'm also trying to listen to my body, like, as in, don't push myself over to my limits, try to go steady as I possibly can. And also, I did mention this before, but my grandfather died of a heart attack way before I was born. It has been known that heart disease is inherited in a lot of my family. And I know and I can acknowledge that I don't have one of the best eating habits ever, but I'm doing the best that I can into actually doing better eating habits. Drink less beer, and I should be drinking less because that was pretty much being a borderline alcoholic for me. Try to eat less carbs, as in pasta and rice. Try to eat less processed foods. Eat more meats and vegetables. Try to keep a consistent workout, as in cardio, walking. Try to do some good lifting. Don't overexert myself. And I've been trying to follow these steps a lot. Yes, they're absolutely unattainable things to do, but these are unattainable things that we must strive to be. It is not easy getting the bodies of Kratos or Wonder Woman or Geralt of Rivia or Bayonetta. They are very unobtainable bodies, but they are bodies that I think all of us should really strive to be. Just try to be the healthiest as we can. Yeah, sure, we can eat some junk here and there, but try to do it in a very moderate sort of sense. Try to eat more greens, try to eat more meats, try to eat less processed foods. Just try to keep a very healthy, consistent, diet, as well as a very consistent time at the gym, as well as don't overexert yourself. Like me, when I had my double hernia. That you should definitely, not do. Don't over-limit yourself. Personally, for me, I don't think that Tess Holliday is attractive at all. A woman that I think is much more attractive would be the porn star Angelina Castro. Yes, she's big in a sense, but she's not overweight, and not to mention she is blazing hot as hell. She is considered a BBW and not an SS BBW. Good golly fucking god, no. Also, one of my favorite YouTubers, Ethan Klein off of H3H3 Productions. Yeah, he's a bit fat himself, and he can recognize that this whole fat acceptance body positivity movement is a bad thing to really, endorse and to praise and to, be an inspiration for people. It's not that healthy. It's not a healthy thing to, endorse. It's not a healthy thing to influence people and stuff. Before I end this video, I also want to give a shout out to one of my best friends, Official GATG, in which he made an absolutely phenomenal video in regards to the whole body positivity movement. I know he made it during 2015, but it is still pretty much one of the best videos that he has ever made in regards to body positivity. And I highly recommend that you all watch that, along with Some Black Guy, a bit of Brit, and Damien Skyfire's videos, which I will leave down in the description below. But yeah, these are essentially my 2 cents onto this whole thing. So yeah, please don't look up to someone like Tess Holliday. And I understand that obtaining those really buff, bulky, muscular bodies is almost impossible to gain, but you know what? They're impossible for a reason, and it's stuff that we need to strive to be. They're tough to obtain, but in the end, once you get those bodies, it's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. And not to mention, you just get, it feels good having that, lifestyle. I understand I don't have the best of eating habits or lifestyles, but I do what I can in order to make myself more healthier and to live essentially a longer life for my friends and family, and to not get another hernia. So that is all I gotta say. Without further ado, ladies and gents, I am Atticus the Death Metaler. Hope you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel. Links are in the description below. Keep it metal. Have an excellent and blessed day.